Right now, a huge caravan of Central American refugees is walking toward the United States. It seems that large numbers of people fleeing their homes is becoming the norm in our world today. In fact, according to a New York Times article written by Zeynep Tefekci, the world is facing the biggest refugee crisis since World War II. For the most part, refugees are fleeing active war zones, says Jason Kahn, Executive Director of Doctors Without Borders, which works in nearly 70 countries, helping those displaced from their homes. The Syrian civil war, also known as Syrian crisis, is an ongoing armed conflict in Syria for more than 50 years. For example, Cubans braved 90-mile shark-infested water between Cuba and Florida in search of safer and freer life. Over 900,000 people managed to escape from Cuba's communist dictatorship.
Tragically, on the afternoon of October 5, 2014, a distracted Maple Ridge pedestrian was struck and killed by a train while walking along the railway tracks near 203rd Street. There has been such a spike in accidents caused by distracted pedestrians that several places around the world have been introducing new laws to ban the use of electronics while crossing streets. Last year, for example, Honolulu, Hawaii, and Montclair, California, both passed distracted walking wearing orange vests, holding long leashes, guiding distracted pedestrians to their destinations. This last idea was not a serious proposal, but was gag played in New York City. Obviously, ladies and gentlemen, we all love our high-tech electronic devices. But it is imperative that we make sensible decisions and put away these devices while crossing streets or intersections or walking near
Playing
trains.
video games can be beneficial to gamers. It can be an entertaining way to relax with friends. Even teachers acknowledge that video games have value, so they sometimes use games like Minecraft in their classrooms to improve their students' imagination and thinking, as well as their teamwork skills. Not blinking constantly can lead to xeroma, or excessive dryness on cornea and conjunctiva, which can cause cataracts or even blindness. Night gaming for long periods increases the chances of gamers developing lower back pain, tendinitis, and carpal tunnel syndrome. Night gamers also risk developing other serious problems. These problems, in fact, are becoming so prevalent that the World Health Organization has added gaming disorder to its list of diseases and health conditions. They may also neglect their personal hygiene, as interaction within video game is considered more important than interaction with anything or anyone
With
else.
the rise of authoritarianism and the growing popularity of far-right political parties in many countries, the world in which we live right now seems to be even exhibiting aspects of Orwell's 1984. Citizens are expected to report the suspicious behaviors of their own family members, and they do. For me, living in such a world is impossible to imagine. But when I read or see the news on TV, I feel scared when I realize how close some countries today are coming to Orwell's world of 1984. Indeed, there definitely are parallels between the world of Orwell's 1984 and our world. But I do not believe that our world has turned or will turn into the frightening world portrayed by Orwell in his landmark novel. I still have faith in democracy, and I believe that it will survive and thrive.
Mass shootings, acts of terrorism, neo-Nazi marches, racist attacks, bullying. If you turn on your TV, access the internet on your computer, or pick up a newspaper. Chances are that you'll be bombarded by negative news, like what I just listed. But then, I learned about incredibly amazing, courageous, and selfless people like Amanda Boxstone, who remind me that there are good, decent, and wonderful people in our world today, and that these good people vastly outnumber the bad. Her prognosis was bleak. She would never walk again. But Amanda refused to accept this gloomy picture of what her future would be like. Instead, she started her own fitness regimen and stuck to it. She returned to the world of skiing and became an adaptive skiing instructor. She was walking. Her health started to improve. Her chronic pain started to decrease, and she felt stronger than ever. But Amanda did not just think of herself. She felt guilty inside about being the lucky one. Before closing, I would like to reiterate why I chose to do my speech on Amanda Boxstone. My reason is simple. It is because I find her so inspiring, so resilient, so fearless, and so giving.
A small town in Spain called Buñol sleeps all year except for one day in August, the last Wednesday of that month. On that day, the little town wakes up for La Tomatina, the tomato festival. La Tomatina is a huge festival in Spain. Each year, some 20,000 people or more from all over the world travel to this unique festival to have a blast, fighting for an hour, throwing them at other participants, and trying in vain to avoid getting hit themselves by the squash or the ripe fruit. When someone climbs a 2-story high, greased wooden pole and reaches the coveted hand at the top. The signal to start the food fight, the firing of the water cannon, is then given and the chaos begins. And when this delivery of this ammunition is completed, people focus on making pulp-covered victims of whoever is in front of them, laughing loudly and hilariously while trying to avoid getting hit by the juicy, messy tomatoes flying through the air.
On this day, one of the deadliest mass shootings in modern US history occurred. The shooter was 19-year-old Nicholas Cruz, a former student of the school. He then dropped a rifle to blend in with students and left the school, running along with the students who were fleeing the building. The FBI had received information about a comment Cruz had made on YouTube that the penalty for a crime should fit the crime. So Cruz's penalty for killing so many people should be death. All the opponents of the death penalty say that this form of punishment is barbaric and does not belong in a civilized country. Ladies and gentlemen, not only did Nicholas Cruz show no mercy to any of his victims, he also showed no remorse after killing them. Just look at his actions immediately following the shootings, and you will be convinced, as I am, that he deserves the death penalty.
There is no doubt that the internet has profoundly changed our lives. However, not everyone agrees on the type of impact that this global computer network has had and continues to have on individuals, organizations, and society in general. Information gained from the internet could be inaccurate or fake. So, if people believe this information, they could be basing their opinion on false data. Another reason given to prove the harmful effect of the internet is that it is a threat to privacy. And as the internet gains more and more users, criminals' temptation to get unauthorized information from organizations becomes greater, and cyber attacks or hacking become more common. Furthermore, whenever people post something online, it becomes almost impossible to erase and therefore can be used against the people who have posted. In South Korea, for example, gaming addiction is so rampant that the government has created rehab centers called rescue schools to treat internet addicted
On
youth.
April 15, 2013, many people, including families with young children, were anxiously and excitedly waiting at the finish line of the Boston Marathon to cheer on their loved ones. The occasion was a happy one. At approximately 2:49 that afternoon, two pressure cooker bombs, packed with BB-like pellets and nails and hidden in backpacks among the crowd of watchers, exploded near the finish line. An investigation began immediately after the bombing, which was labeled a terrorist attack. In less than 2 days, and looking at thousands of videos taken from security cameras, FBI analysts picked out two main subjects, later identified as 19-year-old Zohar Senafeh and his brother, 26-year-old Thurman Lane. Although his lawyers tried to lay all the blame for the marathon attack on his dead brother, I do not believe this. I think he's callous. And his tweet saying, "I'm a stress-free kind of guy," 20 minutes after the bombing, is evidence of his People of the Boston show the world that they're strong, courageous, united, and resilient. As the following year, 36,000 athletes, the second most in the race's history, participated in the 118th Boston Marathon.